conducive site for research.
Researchers had their hideout.
You find anything out there, you let me know. I'm ready to get off this rock. That's it, all right. Law. Still smells like his whiskey, his cigarettes, and that awful cologne he bathed in every morning. Here. I saved up for this just in case I needed to go out into the ruins myself. Truth be told, I'm glad I never had to use it. You didn't happen to find anything else out there, did you? Good. I should have been there for him, but I suppose he wanted to be alone in the end. Thank you for the flask. Jerome and I were supposed to live and die together, but sometimes fate has other plans. Time for me to get off this rock. Memories hang around here like a bad smell, and I could use some fresh air.
That was a real kind thing you did, Captain. Maybe not what I would have wanted, but it looks to be what she needed.
It may seem kinder to not burden people with the complete truth, Captain. but I do not believe that is truly the case.
Sorry about Freddy and Trixie. When they're not fighting over... They like to blow off steam during work hours, but as soon as they clock out, they turn into a pair of kittens. So, what'll it be? I'll set him up. You knock him back.
Captain, transmission request from Ambrose Manor.
Captain! Imagine my surprise when I saw the Unreliable leaving Gorgon with so much urgency and purpose. Tell me you found Mother's journal. I'm positively dying for good news. Someone? You mean someone still has access to the facility? Oh, after all this time. Who was it? Drat. Make sure you have eyes on the back of your head. I doubt we've seen the last of this human vexation. If I know Spacer's choice, getting past the lockdown will be more complicated than just hitting a big red button. You'll need authorization, and layers of it. No. I think you're going to have to rely on good old-fashioned detective work. It's a good thing you have keen senses, a reliable ship, and a very wealthy sponsor. I knew Mother was involved with some important chemical trials, but I had no idea her pet project was adrenatime. Adrenatime is a working man's stimulant, like a caffeinoid. Very popular at launch, though the marketing quieted down over time. What? No. I mean, there's some very morbid wording in the fine print, but I had no idea Adrenatime could make marauders out of people. That's it. That must be it. Spacer's Choice is keeping their dirty little secret about Adrenatime off the record. We have to find Mother's journal. If we don't, then Spacer's Choice gets away with murder. I only hope we aren't too late. Adrenatime was touted as the working man's best friend, a drug that boosted productivity with no adverse effects. The promise of Adrenatime cannot be overstated. Exhaustion and fatigue were supposed to be obsolete. Workplace accidents would be things of the past. For whatever reason, the drug never lived up to that promise. I don't know. And thanks to Spacer's Choice, we may never find out. I know that I'd like to see a colony where the promise of Adrenatime was fulfilled, and I doubt I'm the only one. Thank you. I certainly ought to know what I'm doing. I spent years trying to break into pharmaceuticals, professionally speaking. Mother wouldn't hear of it. She didn't think I had the wit to succeed in her line of work. Safe travels. If your leads give you any trouble, be sure and give them some trouble back, yes? Ta!
Can we talk? You think I could hire myself out to ships in need someday? Be my own mechanic, like how Ellie's her own doctor? I wonder sometimes. You want to ask about anything in particular, Captain? Dad always said I couldn't keep my thoughts to myself, even when I wasn't speaking. I've been churning on that phonograph we found. The one belonging to Dr. Ambrose. The one where she says Spacer's Choice tested Adrenatime in Edgewater. By the time they sent that drug to Edgewater, they knew it hurt people. That it made them violent and stole their minds. But they did it anyway. Edgewater was already fraying at the edges and they tore it right to bits. All to make money. I just can't conscience that kind of cruelty no matter how hard I try. It just makes me want to scream. Thanks for letting me talk, Captain. I've been needing to get that off my chest. We can't fix the past, Captain, but we can change the future. I hope. Nuh-uh. Dad wouldn't let me near it. He was a real big believer in rest. Not his own, mind you. Mine. A drug was no substitute for that, he said. No matter what Mr. Thompson told us. He never did follow his own advice. He worked himself to death. And the company didn't even thank him for it. Not that he told me, but Edgewater was a big town then, and it only had me and him to keep it running. Most nights after I got to bed, he'd just keep working. I always wondered how he had the stamina. Turns out he didn't. Thank you for saying so, Captain. He died a long while ago now, but it ain't something you ever get over. You just learn to live with it. I'm still learning.
Today's trends are tomorrow's trash.
Citizens, today marks a monumentous occasion in the course of Halcyon history. After a deep and thorough examination of our budget, revenues, and costs, we are publishing our yearly success report. Profits are soaring, promotions abound. Thanks to your continued hard work, Halcyon is healthier and more productive than ever. Coming months, Byzantium will be sure to see the many rewards reaped from your diligent labor. Once we nail down the details, I can't wait to share what's in store.
This is where those who fancy themselves the best and brightest of our society live. Trespassing here is a true honor.
This property is off limits. Solicitors, loiterers, and uninvited visitors will be fined to the fullest extent of company policy. This ultimatum brought to you by Universal Defense Logistics. That's funny. The Minister isn't expecting visitors, and you don't much look like one of those couriers from HPS. Sure you are. And what is it you're delivering today?
Welcome to the Musgrave Family Collection. Still a work in progress. I'll tell you what I've told all the other guards. Mind your boots. Our floors are not made for armor. If you're here for the annual Canid review, I'm afraid it's already over. Only thing going on behind those doors is good, old-fashioned lawful behavior. This greeting constitutes your confidentiality agreement. You hereby agree not to disclose the location or existence of these events. Thank you for cooperating. Exactly. You do catch on fast. Now then, how can I help you? Mr. Mostly is indeed attending our event, although I am disappointed to discover he did not officially enter his Canid Laplace into our competition. You should find Mr. Mostly just inside the prep room. Head inside and take the door to your left. We find that our clients enjoy the appearance of participating in illegal activities. Secrecy contributes to a feeling of indecency. The Musgrave Family Collection was intended to be a gallery of fine art. And here we are, using this place to practice semi-legal Canid shows. Scandalous, isn't it?
Just between the two of us, I hope this doesn't become a tradition.
Not looking forward to the next annual Canid review?
Not looking forward to the canids. Odious things. I don't know why we let them prance around the city.
At least the drinks are nice. They even scratched off the warning labels. Just like real contraband.
I suppose if we're being generous with our definition of the word drink.
Don't you ever stop complaining?
How long did you say Musgrave was gone?
I didn't. Frankly, I don't know. A couple of years? More? He said he was off on some type of beautification treatment, which I can only assume is a euphemism.
Do you know the interesting thing about Canid shows? So am I. Canids are a fascinating species, biologically speaking. Mathematically speaking, the interesting thing about Canid shows is this. They're an exercise in futility. Winning is predetermined. Over time, the inevitable trend is that the race goes to the swift. Time and chance are just statistical outliers. In other words, if you put enough Canids through enough trials, the one with the most optimal attributes generally wins. Exercise in futility. Oh, goodness, no. Not at all. I'm an actuary, you see. Well, not entirely. The actuarial sciences are more of a passion than a profession. So I suppose that makes me mostly an actuary. That's a bit of a family joke. I'm Clarence Mostly. Yes, that's us. Mostly oak trees, too. My grandfather invented them, you know. Well, no, he didn't invent mostly oaks, but he did purchase the naming rights back during the terraforming days. It's essentially the same thing. Oh. Then you're not here about my monograph. It's true. I was involved with Project Gorgon, but that chapter of my life is long since closed. Listen, I don't know what you want with Gorgon or with me, but let me give you some free advice, Let the past go. Live in the moment. Enjoy the party. I was wondering if you were the sort of person to accept sensible advice or respond with threats of violence. Thank you for resolving that ambiguity for me. Lifting the lockdown won't be easy. You'll need to send overrides from the chem lab and human inquiry. I don't have that level of clearance, but I know 2 people who do. The trouble is, I don't know you. I don't trust you. I washed my hands of Gorgon, and you're asking me to dirty them all over again. I'm going to need a good reason. Right, of course. Thank you for reminding me. Point well taken. I want a favor from you. Do something for me, and I'll do something for you. That way we don't have to rely on mutual trust. A grand prize trophy to the Canid Review. I want it in my hands. Get me that trophy, and I'll give you the remaining researchers. Names, locations, as much information as I have. My Canid, Laplace, is statistically superior to every other Canid in this review. Better average sprinting time, superior gait coefficient, optimal anatomical symmetry. I didn't bother entering little Laplace in this pointless contest. He's already won on paper, you see. That trophy rightfully belongs to him. Oh, you're much too kind. Does this mean you'll do it? Head into the main hall and take the elevator down into the maintenance tunnels. You'll find a service passage that leads up into the trophy room. The maintenance tunnel is the only way up into the trophy room. Some technician barred the door shut on our end. Ask Tilda Coatsworth about it, over by the podium. What's on your mind? My eye! I was wondering where I'd misplaced that old thing. It's perfectly preserved, you know. Every eye possesses unique dimensions, not unlike a fingerprint. The circumference, the shape, the color of the iris. An eye makes excellent proof of identification, assuming you don't mind removing one. I'd rather not get into the details. If Spacer's Choice ever asks you to test out their new model of monocle, just say no. Well, that's rather responsible of you. I'll put a good word in your permanent record.
Oh, just hear me out. It's a brilliant idea.
Is this about Canid hunting? We've been over this before. It's a terrible idea.
Canid hunting is the natural evolution of Canid shows.
No one's going to miss a few backwater laborers.
Come now, Anubis.
You're a deft hand with a magpick.
Don't mind us borrowing this.
Come now, Anubis.
You don't have to be scared of these Canids, Captain. I don't think they're gonna hurt you.
Never cared much for hors d'oeuvres. The word is just grotesque. All those superfluous letters ruin my appetite. My trophy! Look at this thing! Have you ever seen a more garish monument to the boredom of the elite? If only Grandfather Mostly were alive today, I would have loved to wave this trophy right in front of his cataracts. I hope you won't take it personally when I say I had my doubts about you. Nothing ever gets done in Byzantium, you see. Competent work is, well, a statistical anomaly. Lifting the emergency lockdown requires overrides from the Chem Lab and Human Inquiry. Access to those facilities requires authorizations from 2 senior-level researchers, Marion Blakesley, Jasper Lowe. They went into hiding after the project collapsed, but I've managed to calculate their last known whereabouts within a reasonable margin of error. I see you're familiar with my technique. I'd love to show you my numbers, but there aren't nearly enough napkins in this room. After the project shut down, I had to keep my mind occupied. I worked on my actuarial tables, calculated the average lifespan of a Spacer's Choice worker, that sort of thing. I realized some of the researchers had to be alive. I ran some numbers, did a little research, and concluded that the 2 most likely survivors are Marion Blakesley and Jasper Lowe. As far as I know, Jasper Lowe and Marion Blakesley are the only 2 surviving researchers with high-level clearance. If you want to lift the lockdown on the manufactory, you'll need to send an override from the Chem Lab and Human Inquiry. I'm afraid it's the only way. I know it feels like you're being led on. What is that colorful metaphor commoners use? A wild sprat chase? Remember, this is Spacer's Choice we're talking about. Their security protocols are just as inefficient and frustrating as their manufacturing. I'll tell you what I can. Dr. Marion Blakesley supervised the Human Inquiry and Auditing Facility. Live subjects, measuring tape and syringes, that sort of thing. Someone sabotaged the facility. Blakesley tendered her resignation and vanished. I'm reasonably certain she's hiding in a maintenance bay on Groundbreaker. Well, with Spacer's Choice equipment, who even knows? Dr. Blakesley tendered her resignation lawfully, but under suspicious circumstances. If you want to know more, you'd best ask her yourself. Dr. Lowe described himself as a dazzling genius in his review. I disagreed. Of the 19 criteria that constitute the rubric of genius, Dr. Lowe only met 15. After the project shut down, corporate traded him off to Auntie Cleo in exchange for 5 lab coats. He's been transferred to an orbital lab around Olympus. Oh dear. How do I explain this without using too many syllables? Lab coats means scientists. It's a colloquial... It's slang. Let's get back on topic. You'll find Dr. Lowe in an orbital lab around Olympus. Try to exercise caution. It's good for your lifespan. You did fetch a trophy for my little Laplace. Technically, that makes you my canid servant, and by the transitive property of employment, my responsibility. No need to sound so astonished. Now, was there anything else?
You'd only be letting them.
Someone has left a threatening message on your terminal, Captain. I was unable to trace its origin. Please make a note of it. The Groundbreaker Auxiliary Bay.
Let's try the...
Hey, you! You serious? Get back here! So, hey, you trespassing, and I'm armed. Maybe take a second look at your life choices, pal. Yeah, I know that lady. I know she's looking for, solitude. She hired us to make sure no one comes sniffing around. Guess that's bad news for your plan there. What, after 5 years? Pretty sure she's serious about a little stint in solitary. Anyway, Blakesley's given us standing orders to strongly discourage anyone who tries to come in. I like to, extrapolate from there. We ain't subversives. We're gainfully employed. This is a private contract. Miss Junlei can't get too mad if we rough up some trespassers. Especially if I was nice enough to warn him first. Huh?
Hi, I'm the girlfriend.
Oh, shit. Fine, fine. You want to check out the lab? Go for it. We won't stop you. But Blakesley's got her own setup in there, and she doesn't like guests. So, if you get shot, I'm telling Junlei I never saw you. This one's clear, guys.
Some days, it's like I don't know what to do with myself.
Come on, this is great. We don't have to beat up miscreants for them anymore. We can beat up miscreants for ourselves.
This must be a step up from force factories, huh?
Doesn't look like either of us are sitting pretty in Byzantium, big shot.
Come on, you two. We're all gardeners here.
Hello? Damn it. Look, I get it. Some people need things spelled out for them. I'm sure one of the automechanicals can explain.
You handsome. Looks like you got yourself a little snack.
Process sweeping BS. Performing private area.
Observation log, who knows? Subject number, well, let's call him Percy. Percy here has discovered the secret to success. He has lifted the veil and found the pattern. He wakes up, he listens for that bell 3 times a day. Food rains from the sky. He eats, he waits. Life is easy. But the second your molt comes in, pal,
going on inside there.
So who the fuck? Oh, wait, hang on, I can't hear a damn thing. Just gonna shut this thing off. Right. Marion Blakesley, what can I do for you, Mr. Home Invasion? Cute. There have to be easier ways to steal some corporate property. Go chat up Sublight. Gorgon? I holed up in a forgotten cargo bay of a rotting colony ship just so I could never hear that name again. But here you are. That bastard. Is he still only mostly worthless, or has he achieved mathematical perfection in that regard? His predictive data. If I were on Byzantium, I'd have strangled him. Clearance lacks the attention span for this sort of thing. Someone wants to dig up the past, and you're the shovel, right? That's so? Long way to go for notes on a failed project. Corporate demanded a product they could throw onto shelves. That put the squeeze on low at Chem to develop formulas. Samples. But how do you know if the product works? You run tests, see what happens. That's where human inquiry and auditing came in. I ran HIA, and HIA ran the tests again and again and again. And what happens is a whole lot of wasted time and even more bodies. You've heard the adverts, right? Work day and night, still feel refreshed the next morning. Now, what we tested for was dexterity, efficiency, compliance. The traits of a good employee. Numbers never came out right. I could have pumped gallons of those chemicals into every living soul in this colony. Wouldn't have changed that. What we got was marauders. We had a few weird accidents, escapes, minor setbacks. But one day, all the test subjects got loose. Sabotage, they said. Wasn't just us. All of the facilities got hit hard. Shut us down for a while. That turned out to be the last straw. Nah, didn't much care by then. Don't care much now. Spacer's Choice wasn't getting much use out of us anymore, so they shuttered the project, kicked Adrenatime out the door. And I came here. I could have gone back to Byzantium, found a position somewhere else. Even started up something new, like mostly. But I couldn't stop thinking about. Indulge a scientist. What do you want out of this investigation of yours? Trying to liven up your memoir? Yeah, well, people don't tend to exhume the past just so they can bury it again somewhere nicer. Your crew feel the same? Heck of a world out here for the shy types. What do you get out of headbutting murderous auto mechanicals for your captain here?
A family. Or something near to it. We don't always get along or nothing, but what family does?
Fair enough. That's all I've got. Here, I still have this pass. Don't much feel like hanging on to it anymore. Made my exit the moment the project started falling apart. Had to steal some credentials. This should get you into the volunteer induction entrance. Please, I just messaged people with fake demands for their passwords. That's when they didn't just leave codes written down on pieces of paper. If I couldn't talk my way out past a simple facility lockdown, I'd be working for Rizzo's. That'll get you inside. What you do from there, that's up to you. Yeah. I'll make sure the auto mechanicals don't bother you on the way out. Just drowning in dining options down here.